Hello guys, this is the retro guy again. So today I'm going to work on this classic color classic, sorry. So this is one model that was missing in my collection. It took me a while to find one. It's not so easy, apparently. I don't know much about this model, never owned one in my life before. To be honest, I never even used one in the past. I just like, the shape, the format, and also the fact that it is color, and it opens up a lot of possibilities as well. So for example, from what I read, this guy here would be compatible with the DOS compatibility card, which is something that I find to be amazing. So I do have this card, and eventually I might, if I get this guy here to work, might even install it here. And this might be my compact Mac of choice, just to use it, whenever I want to play games or something like that. So the guy that sold me this wasn't cheap, by the way. I spent around 100 quid on this guy here. The guy said it was for parts or not working at eBay, and he said he tried to turn it on, and he heard noises in terms of the disk trying to be accessed, no image coming on the screen, even though like there was some noise on the tube being triggered or something like that, as from what he said. So there is a good chance that this guy here is actually dead and beyond reparation, which will be a shame, but still I needed to take a chance. I tried for more than a year now get a hold of a classic Mac, a Color Classic Mac with a fair price. It's actually hard to say what a fair price is. There was one auction that I lost of one that was also like for repairs that just basically went for 80 quid. So 20 less than I paid on this one here. And that one didn't have the keyboard or the mouse. At least this one here came with a keyboard and mouse. So of course I can use that. And yeah, so I need to basically open this guy up, check it. I'm not even going to try to power it up before checking everything, because as per what the guy said, he looked at the board and apparently like there was battery leakage. He actually put that on the description. So again, whenever there is battery leakage, there is a good chance that the board is beyond reparation. It depends how bad the leakage was. He didn't post any pictures of it. He just said that I saw battery liquid on the board. So yeah, there is a good chance that this is bad, right? So I can only hope for the best here. I thought I should try it. Well, the case is in good shape. I think the screen should be okay as well, the tube. So worst case scenario, I will have to go for maybe a spare motherboard or something like that. It should be, again, not too easy to get a hold of one, but might be easier than to get a whole thing in good shape. So again, the case looks fantastic, no cracks or anything like that. It is dirty, of course, so I can easily clean this up, and I will go from there. So first thing that I'm going to do here is basically take a look at the motherboard. So this model, from what I learned, you can remove the motherboard from the back without having to open anything or dismantle the whole case. So it's very similar to the modern all-in-one performance as far as it seems like. So I'm going to basically try to do that now. So I can see that there are missing screws here, right? So again, the guy told me that he opened it, so it's not a secret. I'm not expecting this to be like immaculated or anything like that. I know there are defects here, right? So let me just put, I'm going to put that phone down a little bit so I can actually, do that properly without a chance of breaking the tabs or anything like that. So you can see that, yeah, this is a bad sign, you see? So bad leakage here already in the in the case itself. So it looks bad down here. So the guy actually told me that. He told me that he realized that there was some battery liquid coming off, and so he opened it up to inspect and realized that the battery holder and the battery itself was completely disintegrated, of course. And so the thing here is, I don't know if I can just pull the board or do I have to do something else. In the performance, there was like a little handle that I can just pull it and it just comes off like a drawer, but I don't see this here. So I might just, you know, do some proper research before actually attempting to remove this board, just to avoid further damage to it. So I'm just going to do a little research now, try to figure out how to actually disassemble this guy in the proper way. Okay, so Jason from Jason's Macintosh Museum channel actually has a video on you know, fully disassembling one of those, and it's exactly what I thought it was. So it's very similar to the newer Performance. You basically have to just remove the screws, remove the cover, and then just put your hand here and pull it, and the board should come out. Yeah, interestingly enough, you know, just looking at the board here, it doesn't look too bad. So, of course, the battery compartment, it's gone, like it's totally melted. There is a bad leakage between those two circuits here, those two chips. But if I am lucky enough, you know, like it might not be fully corroded, so might be repairable. And just to see what those chips might be related to. So those are probably related to the serial connectors that you see here, so modem and serial, which I never use. So as long as, even if they are corroded, you know, I mean the traces, even if they are, there is a chance that they might not disrupt the functionality of this machine. So looking at the other portions of it here, so I do have an issue with memory. So apparently there is none, right? Not a big deal. I can basically find some memory modules for it. Here you have the PDS slot, right? So this is basically where you should be able to add the PC compatibility card. So yeah, it's so there is a space for a math coprocessor here as well. It's something that I could also find at eBay in a very cheap price. So yeah, it's could be related to memory, you know, like the problem that the guy said. I don't know if this, yeah, this Mac apparently has memory soldered to the board. So you have those chips here. And basically I think those are memory chips. So it should work without any additional memory. This slot here, I don't really know, I have to research, but in other Macs, this normally is either like a video RAM or the ROM. So I would say this is more like video related, because those guys here might be related to the ROM. Not entirely sure though. So again, there is some research that I need to do here, but first of all, I will try to clean this up very gently and try to preserve the traces and see if I can get most of this gunk, you know, off. So yeah, you see inside the battery compartment, it's really messy. So look at that. So it's really messy. Well, the battery compartment itself, it's gone. Like there is not much I can do here to preserve it, I think. You know, I can only see after cleaning this up. So I'm going to use a whole bunch of vinegar here. So vinegar is good to neutralize the acid that leaked from the battery. I'm going to leave it, you know, like for a while, and after that it's just like a scrubbing process with soap and water, and yeah, again, like just hoping for the best here. So if I'm able to remove most of this from the board, it might be solvable, you know, like salvageable. What is the right word for that? No idea. It might be recoverable. Okay, let's use that one. Otherwise, yeah, we'll have to basically try and find a new board for this system. Pretty sure it's the board, the issue here. I have to open this thing up to actually check the internals to see, for example, like the state of the hard drive and the tube and the analog board and such. But at this point, I will place all my chips on this on the board. So there is serious issues going on here, and maybe after cleaning this up, at least I will be able to see where the problem is, right? And then I'll be able to also assess whether or not this is fixable or not, at least you know, from my how can I say, my skills. I'm not going to, for example, like purchase new chips and try to solder them on the places here, or try to retrace the board or anything like that, because it's really beyond my skills to do something like that. I'm okay with like you know, recapping the board and stuff like this I can do without any issues, but when it comes to checking chips for defects, or you know, like uh, it's again something that I'm pretty sure I won't be able to do properly. So yeah, so that's where I am right now. I'm going to start by cleaning this board here. As soon as this is a little more presentable, I'm going to come back. I'm going to basically show the results, and I will, depending on the results, right, if I see that there are no traces corroded or anything like that, I can try to power this up and see if it takes. Okay, so since some people sometimes ask me to actually describe the process that I use to clean up the boards and stuff like that, for this one here, what I'm doing is basically using white vinegar. So this there's a lot of vinegar here, as you can see. So the board is basically submerged into vinegar, and it's already having some effect on the corroded parts. So the vinegar basically neutralizes the corrosion, the battery acid. I don't know how, it just does. To me, it doesn't make any sense, since vinegar is also acid, but you know, I'm not a chemist. This is just something that I researched on the internet, and it came up like a long time ago. And I have been using this recipe for pretty much all the battery related corrosions that I find in any boards that I try to fix. So battery leakage for the PRAM battery is very common, and I have been very successful in using vinegar for that. So I'm just going to leave the board submerged here in vinegar for a while, so that the acid on the battery basically starts to loosen up a little bit. Once this is done, I'm going to switch to baking soda, and I'm going to use a toothbrush basically to create a paste with the baking soda with some water, and then gently rub the affected parts there. Again, this is a very abrasive process, so it's not uncommon for, you know, the traces to be damaged during the process, if they are not already, because of the acid anyways. But again, there is not much to do here other than, you know, again, trying that out, and then the baking soda and maybe some soap, and just hope for the best, really. I have had some very good experiences with this in the past, and very bad ones as well. There was a board from an LC2 that I got from eBay as well, and the battery leaked, and the whole board basically was destroyed. So there is not much to do. I tried to clean it up. It actually came out really clean, but for example, you could see the chips, all the little legs, you know, from the chips, they were basically all corroded. So there was really nothing to do there. I just threw that board in the trash. Nothing much to do there. So I will leave this here for a few more minutes, and then I will start the process of scrubbing that gunk out, and then you're going to see whether or not this worked. Okay, so this is the after cleaning. So I removed the two chips that were mostly affected by the leakage. As you can see, it seems to be fairly okay. Like, I don't see any damage to the circuitry. This is where the battery basically was. I removed, of course, the battery compartment here. And again, I don't see, like, there is still like some this black thing here that you see. Here you see, like, there is still some residue from the leakage, but it's very, very mild, and it's already neutralized, so I think it's okay. So we removed those two chips here using heat gun, and I didn't pay much attention, and it ended up like melting a little bit the plastics here for the serial connector. Not a big deal, like it's not gonna damage it or anything like that. The chips are here, so I'm basically bathing them in vinegar, and I'm going to try to salvage them. Not sure if this will be possible, but I think I might have a couple of those spare from another board that went bad. So worst case scenario, I can basically try to replace them. So yeah, that's basically where we are right now. I'm going to wait for the board now to dry, and I'm actually going to try it out without those two chips, because I think they are not vital to the board. They are basically, I think, controlling those two serial connectors here, and it might just work without them. I mean, not the connectors, but the board. Well, I will give it a shot and see. So that's it. As you can see, like, fairly good job, you know, like cleaning this. If you remember that before, it was really, really, really nasty. So I think I might be in luck here. Not entirely sure yet, but I have to, and still need to figure out what this slot is for. If it is a ROM, for example, or something like that, it won't power it up until I basically put that in place. And yeah, the memory is not needed apparently, so it should be okay without it. I also removed the chips here, so just for the cleaning, right? And yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's see how that goes from this point on. Ah, by the way, the vinegar and the battery acid, it works. I did a little research, because it's not really acid that leaks from the battery. Batteries, those batteries that are normally here, the PRAM batteries, those are alkaline batteries, and of course acid neutralizes the alkaline residue from the batteries. So that's why we use vinegar, because it's a mild acid and it doesn't affect the other components. That's basically it, based on the research that I've done. But vinegar works really, really well, as you can see. Hi guys, little update here. So I cleaned everything up. I removed those two ICs that were here, and the thing is, some pads basically got destroyed in the way, you know, like for example, like there is this one here, there is this one up here, so those pads were gone, and there is yeah, this one here as well. So basically those ICs, I suppose they are related to those two serial connectors here. I'm not sure whether or not they are needed to get the board to work. So right now, if I try to plug this in, and the computer actually powers up, but it gets me the 7-tone chime of that. It doesn't try to boot or anything, but I see like the display actually powers on as well, so this is a good sign. So the CRT is not dead, but nothing else happened. So as you can see, the battery corroded like pretty badly this section here, which is not a big deal because it's just when I try to scrub that off, it exposed a little bit the underneath copper of the trace here, but it's just a big area, so it's not a big problem. Like it's not an actual trace that got damaged. Same here, but there are some traces that were affected by, so this one here, for example, is one, and I still need to test them to understand the continuity if there is an issue there. So I didn't bother too much again because you know, at this point now I'm going to focus on the caps. So I have removed some caps from the board already. So I try to do that in several different ways. I have done this in the past for several boards, you know, like Max LCs and others, without major issues. Sometimes, you know, the pads get ripped off, and that happened here. So I get this pad here was ripped off, and the two pads up here also were ripped off. And I also get this pad here, as you can see, this black section here. So this pad here was also ripped off. So what I'm going to do now is what I've learned in the past, whenever I have like pads that are being you know, that come off along with the capacitor, I just have to find where that other end was basically terminating. So it's not too hard. If you use like a voltmeter like this here, and you set it up to continuity, you can actually find that out fairly easily. So here, for example, in this one, let me see if I can get some focus. I can see that there was a trace basically coming here. So let me see if I can show you that. So here, that's basically the point, right? So that means if I basically can find continuity from this point here to some other point in the board, I can basically tap the new cap to that part using a wire or something like that. So I don't even have to bother in terms of you know, like scratching the surface here, or try to use you know, like some solder. I used to do that in the past. It's a lot of work, and most of the time it doesn't get too firm. So what I do now is basically using the multimeter, I try to find continuity from this point here to some other point in the board. Just use a wire to connect the cap slag from that point to here. That's basically what I do, and normally it works just fine. So I'm going to do that for all those parts where the pads were ripped off basically. And after that, I'm going to give it another shot. So see if there is any change in terms of the board powering on or not. Still I have a problem, then I'm going to focus back on the traces that got corroded here at some point to see if there is a need for them to actually be, you know, corrected. And in that, still not doing anything, I'm going to try to put back the ICs here. It's going to be tricky because, again, I have some pads that got removed, so there will be a lot of work actually to put those ICs back here. That will be basically my last attempt. I'm not even sure I'm going to do that, because it's going to be a lot of work to actually go get those ICs back in place. And yeah, basically I'm going to do some continuity test here on the traces to make sure that they are okay, and that's it. So still, it could be something else anyways. Like, it doesn't have to be the ICs that are missing there. It could be, for example, like bad ROMs, or it could be like memory that is faulty as well, and it could be a number of things. So basically what I'm going to do is if I can get this board to power up after replacing the caps and everything, I'm basically going to give up for now, because it's really out of my level of skill, you know, or expertise to actually troubleshoot this further. And pretty sure I'm not going to go anywhere by just keep attempting and wasting time on that. It's really a shame, because those boards are really hard to get a hold of. So I'm just going to start trying to find a new Mac Classic color Color Classic board to replace this at some point. Eventually it's going to show up at eBay or someplace like that, and I'm just going to go for it, which is again like not it's not going to go as expected, but what can I do, right? There is only so much I can do in terms of trying to get this board to work. So let me work on the caps now. As soon as I finish with the work here, I'm going to film that again to show you guys how it looked, and then we are going to attempt power it on the board and see how that goes. Okay, my friends, so I basically finished the recap. It was a lot of work because of what I mentioned before. As you can see here, because of the written out pads, I have to basically connect the caps directly onto certain portions of the board. So you can see this here, connecting directly to the IC, and here bypassing the pad which was here and basically connecting to some other point in the board that gives the same signal. This was done also here. As you can see, not very nice, not very beautiful, but hopefully it will work. So again, here is the part where the corrosion kicked worse because of the battery compartment, and I had to redo some traces. So as you can see, you can see this here, right? The this graffiti thing going on here. This was basically this bare conductive electric paint that I normally use to redo traces. I used the multimeter basically to detect that those traces were bad. So here as well, you see, and here, and yeah, so hopefully this will also, those are the only traces that I found to be bad. The others seems to be okay. And here are the ICs that I think those are the serial controllers, and I removed them, and I'm not going to put them back again because the pads are basically were ripped off when I removed them. As you can see, there is a pad missing here and here, and I never used the serial port, so I think I should be okay without them. I don't think they really connect anything to anywhere other than basically use the two serial connectors here, which again I don't need. The other thing that I've done, so here again, like you can see the cap bypassing the pad that was removed and going all the way to the other side of the board, and yeah, that was pretty much it. Like all the caps were replaced. As you can see, I didn't have surface mounting caps, I just used the regular ones. Again, not ideal, but I don't really care as long as this works. Like I'm really okay. That was pretty much it. Like that's what I can do in terms of my skills and my knowledge. I can't do much more than that. So I cleaned the board, I redid the traces that were corroded badly, I removed the ICs that were badly damaged by the corrosion, I tested most of the traces that I could, basically that in the region that was affected by the corrosion, and I recapped the whole logic board. That was it. Again, like there is not much more I can do here. Like if it is a memory issue or anything else, like a processor or whatever, I won't be able to be doing anything more, really. So it's really going to be the case of going after another board, which probably is not going to be cheap. Those machines are not easy to come around, and normally they go by very, hefty prices, unfortunately. So that's it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the board to the computer, and I'm going to try to power it on and see how that goes. So before before recapping, all I got was the 7-ton chime of death. That was pretty much it. I got the screen actually powered up without any image on it, just like white, and the chime of death. So that was pretty much it. No hard drive spinning or any other indication of anything going on. So let's see how this goes now. So I'm going to try to do that. I mean, I will have to put the camera down because I really want to do this in the right way. So I'm going to basically turn the camera down now. I'm going to add the board to the Mac. And then when that board is in place, I'm going to turn it on and we can test it together for the first time. Okay, so I'm going to do that. So I'll be back in 2 minutes. So board is in the host. There is a piece of paper here because the leakage of the battery was so bad that there is some residual acid here on the bottom, and I don't want the board to touch it, so I just put some paper here to protect it. I'm still going to disassemble the whole thing and clean it up, if this is working, of course. If not, I'm just going to store this somewhere else and you know, wait for a new board to come around. So let me plug the ADB keyboard here. This machine needs the keyboard to be powered up. Cable, power cable, making sure that it's off. Okay, power cable connected, and I'm going to turn it on. As you can see, nothing happens. This is expected. This is exactly like the more recent all-in-one performers. It needs the keyboard basically to power it up. So, time for the truth. I'm not very optimistic about it, but you know, like here goes nothing. So I'm going to press the power button now, and let's just hope for the best. Okay, that's there you go. That's a shame. So let me, yeah, that's what I got. You see, like the image is a little bit distorted, probably because of the analog board that needs recapping as well. So let me give it another shot. That's interesting. That's interesting. Oh, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. This is actually working. Oh my God. I really can't believe it. Yeah, it failed the first time. I powered it off, turned it on again, and as a miracle, it came back to life. My God. Still have to figure out why it failed the first time. Might be still something missing, or maybe something like, look at that. Even the hard drive is working. I can't believe it. The guy told me that he didn't know if the hard drive was working or not. He even asked me that if I could get that back to work, to contact him, because he might want some of the files on the hard drive back, because there are pictures of, I think, his kids or something like that. And I'm, you know what, like more than happy to do that for him now. I can't believe it, really. Like, man, look at that. Like, yeah, the image is distorted, as you can see, right? So it's not really perfect, but I really think this is related to the analog board. So it should be just a matter of recapping it. And there is no leakage on the analog board, so I'm not really too worried about it. So let's check the hard drive. Let's see what's inside. Let's see the size of the hard drive. Okay, so this is a 40 meg hard drive. Not too great, but anyways. Oh man, this is amazing. I'm so, pardon my French, but so fucking happy. I can't believe it, really. So yeah, it was money well paid. Like, I paid 100 quid for this, and man, I can't believe it. I brought it back to life. Like, I'm not an electronic engineer or anything like that. I just did like a very, you know, nasty recap job, and apparently, oh man, I can't believe it. Oh fuck. So I'm going to power it off. I'm going to clean everything up. I'm going to disassemble this. I'm going to give like a very good cleaning, and I can't believe it. Like maybe replacing the caps on the analog board should solve the screen issue. I'm really confident on that, and that's it, man. Like wow, Can't believe it. I still like I'm astonished, really. Like, this was by far the most complex repair I've ever done on a Mac. Like, very bad battery leakage, and I was totally unhopeful about it, and it turned out to actually work. So yeah, I lost the two serial ports on the back. Really don't care about that, never used them. And oh man, look at that. So yeah, just to show you, like, the case is in amazing shape. As you can see, there is no cracks or anything like that. It's dirty, of course, but this is easily, you know, like I can easily fix that. It's a good shower, and this is going to be as good as new. So that's it. Next step is disassemble this, give like a very good cleaning, recap the analog board, and that's it. Like, go from there. I still have to figure out why it failed the first time I tried to boot it. It could be that the traces that I've done using graffiti, that paint that I showed you before, might not be very dry still. It could be that. So I might actually leave this running for a few minutes. It might help, you know, like consolidating the fixes and the caps and everything else. I really don't know, but maybe. And I go for there. That's it. So thank you guys for, you know, like watching this. Amazing. I'm astonished, really, so happy. That really made my almost my year, to be honest. I was always wanted a Mac like this. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching, and bye.